daughter of late elder statesman Chief Solomon La and House of Representatives member Benny La, says one of the dying wishes of her late father was for the People's Democratic Party to be united. The lawmaker said this while receiving members of the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party who were at the Abuja residence of the late statesman on a condolence visit. The national chairman of the party, who led the team, said Chief La will be sorely missed. We're on to politics now. 40 members of a splinter group in the All Progressives Congress have been arrested by police in Ogun State following a fracas at the secretariat of the defunct Congress for Progressive Change in Abeokuta, the state capital. The crisis was allegedly masterminded by some members of the party who were recently suspended on the allegation of financial mismanagement and anti-party activities. However, normalcy was restored to the area after the police intervened and rounded up some of those involved. The command's public relations officer, Mr. Muyiwa Adejobi, confirmed the incident, adding the two members of the warring faction were already assisting the police in their investigations. Meanwhile, Nigeria's ruling party, the PDP, has extended an olive branch to the breakaway group led by Abubakar Baraje, urging members to return to its fold. A PDP, in a statement by the National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Olisametu, said INEC's position has laid to rest all issues regarding its leadership. The PDP states, however, that this is not a time for them to gloat or preen themselves for victory, but will rather use the window of opportunity to engender true reconciliation, put all the issues behind the party, and move ahead as one big united family. The ruling party is also asking its aggrieved members to relegate all personal interests and return to the fold so as to forge a common, formidable political front. In education of the girl child and the prosecution of its perpetrators of violence against women were some of the issues in focus today in Lagos as Nigeria joined the rest of the world to mark the International Day of the Girl Child. This is its second edition since it was initiated by the United Nations. Well, this year's theme, Innovating for Girls' Education, was a reminder for young girls in Nigeria that they hold a place in the management of the country's affairs, as our correspondent Loretta Chiogo reports.
For democracy.
She's a human rights activist with much concern centered on crimes against the woman. Her words, though encouraging, may never produce the desired result if not put into action.
Impunity has been on for a very, very long time. The inability to bring those who have perpetrated heinous acts like rape, violence, have emboldened those perpetrators. So we are going to stand firm as one in saying that all those who have perpetrated heinous acts must be brought to book.
All of these words were backed up with a film titled Girl Rising, a United Nations production. Though the cameras were restricted from filming, the over 1 hour film reminds the girls of the power in education.
The girl child needs empowerment. The girl child needs to be in the school. In fact, that is why the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, launched the Global Education First initiative to ensure that every child is educated, every child is taken to school, especially girls.
What worries me is we're not conscious of the fact that we are playing around with our children's lives and their futures and the future of this country. I mean, look at a young girl who's married very young and she goes into a store or something and picks something up and she doesn't see there's a warning on it. She can't read properly. There are all sorts of dangers to herself and to her children.
And if the words of some of these girls are anything to go by, then Nigeria and the entire world may soon witness a radical change and more involvement from this class.
I think the best I can do is, I've always had a passion to be a politician, so the best I can do is give out my word to those that are less fortunate.
I always believe and say to myself, I will be the first female president of Nigeria. But my friends, especially boys, will tell me I can't be that. Where will I ever see a female really in Nigeria? But I believe deep inside myself that I can be, and I would be if I want to be. But I want to study mass communication and be a presenter. I'm mostly be an inspirational speaker to inspire people outside to believe in themselves and become the master of their own destinies.
In achieving these dreams, paying attention to the foundation of the girl child and, of course, their male counterparts must begin from the home. Loretta Chiogo, Channels Television News.
The Nigerian army has deployed another 800 troops to Darfur in Sudan on peace support operation. A troop made up of 33 officers and 767 soldiers had undergone a 4-week pre-deployment training at the Nigerian Army Peacekeeping Center in Jaji, Kaduna. Addressing the troops at the center, the commander, 34 Artillery Brigade, Brigadier General Modibo Alkali, noted that Nigeria will continue to contribute troops in support of the United Nations peacekeeping mission. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is asking residents of some parts of Ilorin in Kwara State to vacate their residences. The coordinator for NEMA for Abuja Operations Office, Mr. Ishaya Chonoko, who led a road walk through the Kwara State capital, appealed to the state government to provide alternative housing for those who might be affected.
All agencies that would usually participate in rescue and emergency operations were represented. Road safety, civil defense, youth corps members, the NEMA officials and other interested parties in disaster management on a road walk along Ibrahim Taiwo Road in Ilorin. Some of the streets visited were Obbo Road, Wahab Folawiyo and Ahmadu Bello Way, where leaflets warning residents to relocate from riverbanks were distributed. At a workshop which followed, the NEMA coordinator enumerated some of the reasons for flooding.
All actions to mobilize the impact of floods hinge upon awareness by stakeholders and communities at risk. Ignorance of flood risk encourage occupation of floodplains and abuse of town planning regulation. In the event of floods, lack of awareness of risk can result in failure to heed to warnings by relevant agencies.
A special advisor to the Governor on Emergency and Relief Service, Abdulaziz Ibrahim, gave assurance that affected residents would be appropriately attended to.
Flood can destroy life, can destroy property. So in that essence, government having asked them to vacate their places of abode because they are too near to the waterway. So the government is trying to compensate them. So relocate them and compensate them.
Whether lessons on the walk are adopted in the state will be seen in the coming weeks.
And to complement the efforts of the federal government at reforming the agricultural sector, Promasidor Nigeria Limited has gone into joint venture arrangements with Rosedale Farms in Kwara State as part of the firm's vertical integration and use of local agriculture inputs into the brands. A managing director of Promasidor, Chief Keith Richards, told journalists in Lagos today that the new firm, which will be called Dairy Farmers Nigeria Limited, will cater to the untapped economic potential through the productive development of resources in the country's agricultural sector.
20 years and counting, and Promasidor Nigeria Limited continues to add to its growing range of household products in the country. But this time, it's an agreement that will see Promasidor source raw materials for its new range of products from a local farm in Kwara State, north-central Nigeria.
We are desirous of collaborating with Rosedale and the Reeds in the business of production of value-added fresh milk-based products such as cheese, butter, yogurt and allied products, and Promasidor, Rosedale and the Reeds have agreed to pool our resources to incorporate the company Dairy Farmers Nigeria Limited. And this venture is just one of the things that Promasidor are doing as part of this vertical integration and use of local agricultural inputs into our products and brands.
Considering their plight as farmers, the technical partners are excited at the opportunity.
The milk will be sold to them and we add value to it right on the farm there in Shonga.
We have had problems in marketing this fresh milk, and that is why we are delighted that Promasidor has come in to join us in a partnership whereby they are going to take the raw milk from us and turn that into cheese, yogurt, butter, and several other dairy products that could be available.
For Promasidor, the federal government's agricultural sector reforms makes this venture a viable one.
We believe it'll be the first commercial production of cheese, for example, in Nigeria. So this market is definitely developing, and I think this will give us an advantage and demonstrate that Promasidor is always bringing innovation to play in the food sector.
Over the years, challenges in the agri sector has bordered around lack of infrastructure. And with these in mind, Promasidor Nigeria Limited says this venture would kick off with an initial investment worth about 700 million naira. Henry Ogunjimi, reporting for Channels Television News.